Never let someone force you to attempt to force God's hand in the game of life. Never let someone force you to rush God. Never approach God with an ultimatum or telling God a timetable. Be careful. Do not invoke God's judgment on yourselves by acting such a way in prayer, telling God what he better do by tomorrow at 10, like Trump has told Hamas, you better release those hostages by 12 o'clock Saturday or all hell would break out. You see, if you are in charge, if you are the man of power and authority, you can give the ultimatum to a human, but the humans cannot, or someone lesser does not give the ultimatum to someone greater. God is greater. The Bible doesn't tell you to tell God when to act. It says, make your request known to God. And then the other one, be still and wait. You don't tell God, well, you better answer this by then because this person's got to. Do not approach God that way. The fact that you even think that way, many of you talk that way, you've already destroyed yourselves. And when you go to a court of law, you will destroy your case if you don't approach the judge correctly. Any attorney will tell you that, both as the prosecutor or the defense attorney. The judge does not like to be disrespected. The judge doesn't take any of your sides. The judge is on their own side. And you might get the favor of the judge if you respect the judge. And there's a certain way you speak when you go into a court of law. Every attorney knows it. Better be careful how you talk to that judge. That judge may cause the proceedings to work against you, shut you down at every objection, even at the ones that would actually be proper. She may override every one of your efforts, or he, whoever the judge might be, because the judge doesn't like you. Or the judge sees that you're trying to manipulate the court. And if the judge sees that you're trying to manipulate the court and not play by the rules, they'll come down on you there. Don't do that, people, when it comes to God. Because you tend to always do that when it's something that you want. But when God tells you what he wants, none of you obey. And yet you come before him and think, what? Calm yourselves, children. It's God who's God, not you or your needs or your requests. It is God who demands, and it is done. It is God who tells you. He's not asking you. Obedience. You are the one that asks him. He doesn't ask you. He tells you. You've got the relationships confused. God tells you, yours is to say, yes, and I will. You ask him, and yours is to wait to see what is his will. We have to get the relationship right. The way we talk and the way we act. But Christianity has confused so many of the believers in America as to what the proper order and conduct is. And most of you have a horrible conduct with God. Although you have a great conduct with your bank when you need a loan, your business partners, you have a great conduct when it comes to the government or a judge in a legal proceeding or a police officer, but you seem to have a horrible conduct with God. In other words, God gets less than what you give to men, organizations, governments, business, and entities of this world. Don't you see what I'm saying? Can't you see it in your own life? Do you need it broken down for you? You make sacrifices like nobody's business to give to the world and to the devil. But you don't do that for God. You think he doesn't see that? You think he isn't taking note of that? You think he is confused? Even you know it. What do you think he's going to do? And yet the greatest insult that many of you have is that you know God knows it, but you have no fear that he's going to do anything to you. Yet you all fear the IRS and you act accordingly because you know they will, but you don't think God's going to get you for what you've done? I guarantee you he will. You don't take him serious. The cop bangs on your door with a subpoena or a warrant or pulls you over. You take him serious. Get down on the ground. You know how many car chases we have in Southern California? You see it live on television. They all obey. Eventually, after they run out of gas or hands up, back up, get down on the ground, spread your legs. They have a fear. They fear the police. They don't fear God. A criminal can come. All right, everybody hands up in the air. He's not even a police officer. You obey him. You fear him. No fear of God. You fear a criminal. You fear a police officer. You fear the IRS. You fear a gangbanger. You fear a politician. You even fear your bosses at work. And some of you fear bears and dogs. And some of you fear women. But you don't fear God. Interesting, isn't it? I want you to just think about that. Because whatever you fear is what you are supposed to pray to. Whatever you fear is what you're supposed to turn to. Whatever you fear is what you negotiate and try to talk to. Whatever you fear, you submit to. But when it comes to God, there's no fear. And yet the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Now, don't have to believe me. Who am I? No one that matters to you. Open up the Word of God for yourselves.